Anxiety is something that pretty much every human on earth deals with in some capacity. In this video, we're going to be starting a new series called Mental Health Coach Reacts. I'm Steven Jaworski. I'm a professional counselor and mental health coach, and we're going to be looking at a video of Keanu Reaves, a famous actor, on Conan O'Brien's nightly talk show. So he talked about how he deals with anxiety, and we're going to see if we can take away anything from that and possibly, comment on it or implement it into our life. So let's get into the video.
How does Keanu Reaves deal with anxiety?
Breathe. Yeah, you gotta breathe. Breathe.
Yeah, I mean, it's something extremely simple. Obviously, we're always breathing at every moment of the day. And I'm sure somebody has told you at one point, if you're anxious or stressed or worried, oh, just breathe, everything will be okay. I know I've been told that, and I've looked at them like, I'm always breathing. What are you talking about? But that was because I didn't understand why deep breathing, or especially deep breathing techniques, worked. So what happens when anxiety is, manifesting itself in your body, stress as well, your breath is much shorter. And that tends to elevate your heart rate because your body gets put into what's called fight or flight mode or survival mode. So you're anticipating a threat. That's actually what's happening. So when that happens, your heart rate increases, you're ready to take action, you're very perceptive of your surroundings. And if you're actually in danger, that's what the body is meant for. It's to keep you alive. It's to make you survive any and all situations. But what happens with a lot of people is when anxiety hits, it happens all the time. So think of it like a smoke alarm in your house that just goes off randomly, goes off all the time. And your body is put into this mode no matter what happens throughout the day. You could be just eating dinner, you could be watching a show, you could be at your desk at work, and boom, you're in fight or flight mode for, what seemingly no reason at all, because, it's not like there's a poisonous snake next to you. It's not like someone's trying to, to end your life or something crazy, but you're just in this state and you're anxious. You're trying to predict every single scenario. So what breathing techniques do is they get you to, get away from trying to, think about everything going on around you and being super perceptive, and to focus on one thing, which is your breath. And then while you're focusing on that one thing, you're slowing your cadence of your breath, and your heart rate begins to go down, and then your body begins to slowly relax. So over a period of like a couple minutes, your body actually starts to calm down. You just have to stick with it. And there's no special or secret technique for deep breathing. It's just something you have to pick. You have to pick one technique and use it consistently. And that's how you slow the physiological effects of anxiety on your body.
Try to figure out, why are you afraid? What does that mean? And then
yeah, at the end of the day, anxiety is based on fear. So you're afraid that X, Y, and Z will happen. You're dreading something. You're anticipating something. A lot of times, if you think about if you ever played sports as a kid, if you ever had an interview, something like that, you would get butterflies in your stomach. You would get nerves. So sometimes anxiety can masquerade as anticipation or nerves. Through normal circumstances where that would be something to be expected, then yeah, it's just nerves. But anxiety tends to be persistent and pervasive through all aspects of your life. So you need to figure out what this fear is. What are you afraid of happening? I know in my life, something that was a big trigger of mine was control. So any time in my life that there was something that I didn't have control over, and a bad outcome could possibly happen, or I would be, hurt emotionally from it, I would dread that experience. And that's when anxiety would be really, really rampant. I would be overthinking because I'm trying to control for that scenario. So yeah, anxiety at the end of the day is fear. So, false evidence appearing real. You have to understand what it is that you're afraid of, what is making you anxious. That way you can identify it, you understand it, and then you can effectively cope with it moving forward.
Try to just be and let not what you're afraid of define the present that you hope to be in when you go do what you're afraid of.
Yeah, and that's honestly the biggest part, is once you find out what it is that you're afraid of that's making you so anxious and making you dread, every situation that it shows up in, you're dreading the day ahead, you're dreading these circumstances, you need to not let it affect your everyday life and what you want to do. There's a big thing right now with just especially like youth, and it's, as people grow up and getting into the workforce and getting into everyday life, they let this anxiety make their world smaller. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we avoid these emotions, these uncomfortable emotions, especially anxiety. So what happens is when you avoid these emotions, you avoid the situations that elicit these emotions. So, if going to the gym makes you anxious, or going into social settings makes you anxious, if your only coping skill, the only tool you have to deal with these things is to avoid it, that's not really that helpful. Yes, there's certain situations where, like, if you don't have to engage in them and it would be positive for your mental health, then that's cool. It's not a one size fits all thing. But if these are everyday situations, if you like hanging out with friends, or you want to engage with people, you want to go to the gym, you want to be effective at work, and you're now avoiding these things because you feel anxious, that's a problem. That's when anxiety becomes like a disorder and it makes your world much smaller. So at the crux of it, you need to understand why you're afraid of these things, but you also need to paint a picture for your life that you want to live, and make that more important than avoiding the negative emotions that you feel. So, that was a really short clip. I don't know too much about Keanu Reaves. I've seen some of the movies that he's in, and in short, he's spot on with that. So anxiety is something that I know a lot of people deal with, a lot of professionals, especially when you have a lot of responsibilities. You are trying to climb the ladder. You have, family, you have, things that you need to do, and a lot on your plate. So anxiety can come and be something that invades your mental space, that makes everyday life harder. But there's absolutely actionable tips, strategies, and techniques that you can use to remedy that anxiety. So yeah, that was a great video, and we definitely utilize a lot of those techniques along with many others in our M3 method, which is what we use to help professionals relieve their stress, anxiety, overthinking, and burnout, so that they can, have sustainable success and not be bogged down by these mental and emotional issues. So if you're a high achieving professional that is struggling with anxiety, stress, overthinking, burnout, and it's gotten to a point where it's impeding your everyday life, it's making you dread the day ahead, it's making you less effective at work, more irritable with your family and friends, schedule a call down in the description with us. See if we're a good fit to help you take action and remedy these things. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and see you in the next one.